Oh my god. I love the smell of SJWs persecuting talented comic book artists in the morning. It smells like Comicsgate. Hello. I started this gangster shit. This the motherfucking thanks I get. Hello. I started this gangster shit. And this the motherfucking thanks I get. Hello. If you're enjoying this content, hit that subscribe button. Join us. Yeah. I want to tell you about my buddy John Malin. You know, he just reopened his Graveyard Shift Volume 2 campaign for a limited time with a brand new cover by smoking hot artist Andrew Huerta. Absolutely beautiful. This sold out last time. It's only going to be open for a month. Links in the description below. Don't miss out. Well, for goodness sakes, it's Comic Artist Pro Secrets, and my name is Ethan Van Sciver. I am a 26-year veteran, going on 27 year, of this host organism comic book industry, this shell, this desiccated shell that was once a thriving industry. But it has been attacked and infested with multitudes of parasitic social justice warriors, and now this is where we find ourselves. We find ourselves here being lectured by these nanny Puritan types, puritanical weirdos. It's weird. They're like puritanical and kind of perverts at the same time. It's an interesting combination. World's most charming, elegant, eloquent, and yet humble man, great big Star Wars fan, and trusted member of the media. So what are we doing here? Somebody sent me this, and I got so excited. My wife is upstairs cooking me some filet mignon for lunch. It's New Year's Eve. I'm so excited about it. And you know, I got this, and I said, oh my gosh, I got to go downstairs and make a video. And she said, well, I'm going to make you lunch. I said, I'll be right back. She said, it must be important. I said, it is important. You know, a cheesecake 90s artist is being harassed by weirdos on Twitter. She said, go do your thing. This is what I do. This is, you know, part of my day. I've gotten to love it. J. Scott Campbell. Is J. Scott Campbell secretly Ethan Van Sciver? All right, so we've got right here, we have a harassing smartass SJW sock puppet account. And their entire purpose is to harass, threaten, denigrate, and scare J. Scott Campbell into not saying things that go against the SJW narrative. And J. Scott Campbell, by the way, J. Scott Campbell, no fan of mine. When I was being persecuted and called a Nazi, J. Scott Campbell actually came out and said, well, you asked for it, Ethan. And I was like, I was stunned. I'd never had anything to say about J. Scott Campbell. But in any case, I'm going to come to his rescue here. Because, look, we have a common enemy, and that is the woke. Now, here's what J. Scott Campbell wrote that got these dingbats to swoop down upon him. The woke, quote unquote, don't understand what style is. And they really don't. I mean, you know, they have their style of comic book art is bloodless, it's bland. We at Comicsgate describe social justice warrior comics as looking like the pamphlets that you get in front of you when you get on an airplane, you know, telling you how to keep your head between your knees in case of a crash. Do they tell you to put your head between your knees? You know, it's the illustrations on the vomit bag. That's essentially what these people draw like. It is the strangest phenomenon. It is as if they all came out of a clone machine, or they are an alien invasion from space. They're horrible, horrible people. And they're going to lecture J. Scott Campbell, see if they can get him in line real quick. And if they can't get him in line, they're going to swarm and harass him. And that's what's going to happen to him on New Year's. We'll see. We'll see about this. The woke don't understand what style is. And not to worry, I can't stop, won't stop. So he's a little bit like Puff Daddy here. Let's see what he's talking about. Oh, look at this. J. Scott Campbell just did a statue of one of the worst characters ever. Social justice warrior Mama, the princess of bland, awful, you know, manufactured, and yet just generic superhero characters. That is Captain Marvel. That's Captain Marvel, a character that exists entirely to excuse Marvel Comics' own lack of singular female heroes. And they don't have any. They have female characters that are on teams, etc., etc. They got Brie Larson in this role. She refused to smile. She acted like a biatch. all this stuff, and they thought she was a hero. Now here's J. Scott Campbell. J. Scott Campbell doesn't know how to do that. J. Scott Campbell really doesn't know how to do bland, square-assed, pancake-breasted, he doesn't know how to do that. Scowly. He draws beautiful women, even though they look very young. Like, that's the face of a 13-year-old. But let's check these things out. Look, he actually made... Oh, she's so tiny. He draws these... J. Scott Campbell's extremely influential. A lot of young artists picked up on his style because it seems simple. It seems like you can do it. And they started to draw this sort of strawberry-shaped head, big eyes, little mouth, and then tiny body, but super fit. They started to do this. I mean, look at this. If Captain Marvel actually looked like this statue, which was based on J. Scott Campbell's drawings, I don't know. I really feel like she'd probably be legitimately popular. This is the way superheroes used to look. Physically fit, impressive, like idealized, exaggerated, anatomy, exaggerated form. This is what art is. That booty, though, that's old school. That's not like Comicsgate thick. That's trim kind of like 1990s booty. All right, so he's looking at that statue. He's happy about it, but I guess who's this person here? Another sculptor or another artist? I'm not really sure who he's talking about. But we go back. Now, he just said, hey, I'm going to do what I do. He has been harassed before for doing this. J. Scott Campbell drew a kind of sexy version of another horrible SJW character. The teenage girl who took over for Tony Stark and became the new Iron Man. She's a black teenage girl, became the new Iron Man because, of course, it's the SJW era of comics. J. Scott Campbell had to do a cover for introducing her, and he drew her with a thin waist, her hip cocked to the side. She was wearing a half top or something like that showed her belly. SJWs again flipped out. She needs to be in a burqa or something. She needs to be covered up. She needs to take away anything that's sexually appealing about any female character. That's currently what's happening to the comic book industry. Now, I mean, J. Scott Campbell is going to answer this person and say, I find the concept of the perpetually offended as a ridiculous thing, and a threat to all artist expression. And it is, because the end result of what these people do equals art that nobody wants, that's for nobody. It exists as a way of complying with social justice warriors' pointless demands in their endless exercises for power. It has nothing to do with creating something that a brilliant young artist like J. Scott Campbell wants to do, because that's what he likes and that's what his fans like. People like this person, Hush. What a great name, Hush. Like, think it like hush up. We're gonna silence you. It has nothing to do with what people want. It's trying, like, if J. Scott Campbell were to bend to the whims, bend to the pressure of this sock puppet account and everything that this sock puppet account is threatening him with and implying that will happen to him, then his art style would just again fold into asexualized, bland, nothing appealing about it, no sex, no spark, no violence, nothing about it. I mean, this is the thing that SJWs are trying to remove from comics: sex and violence. Those two things, in a fun way, that the comics have always had. SJWs don't like it. Most of their comics involve a lot of long conversations where people exchange ironic, bon mots at each other in coffee shops. J. Scott Campbell's from the 90s. He's like me in a lot of ways. He's not going to stop doing what he does. He says things aren't so easily black and white, but and then he gives her this. By the way, I'm assuming this is a her, but I mean, look, you can't tell. I mean, there's no gender barrier between female and male SJWs. They're all penisless parakeet people. They all sound exactly the same. They're all snarky. They're all threatening you with impotent sort of social violence. So you can't really tell. I just assume this is a female, but it could be just as easily a soy boy. He says, but I'm generally progressive by nature. Hey, I'm one of you, but, you're the social justice warrior thing, I don't subscribe to. I don't like that. And this person's like, what expression? You just draw women unrealistically for the sake of sexiness. All right. It's like, so here's the thing. It's like, yeah, that is kind of, first of all, that's called the exaggeration of form. All right. It's not unrealistic what he's doing. It's just the glorification of the female form. And for the sake of sexiness, that's great. For what other reason should you make art? What better reason than love, being provocative, sex? What is a better reason to sit down and draw something, to express your aspirations and what a ridiculous thing. But I mean, this is the thing. This is the denigration of the social justice warrior. Like everything that you do, all of the achievements, all of your lifetime's worth of hard work, the development of your skill, the development of everything that you are putting down on paper and that you have achieved means nothing. What expression? This is called gaslighting. This is gaslighting, J. Scott Campbell. What you're doing, what you're saying means nothing. You're wrong. You're not doing anything that's important or valuable. This bit of gaslighting is exactly what social justice warriors like to do. And here we go. Here comes a little bit of the pile on here. Like, I actually wouldn't give a shit about it if his art wasn't officially licensed by Marvel and DC, but it is for some reason. So, he's allowed to draw Marvel and DC characters and draw them in an appealing way that hundreds of thousands of people over the decades have enjoyed. Why? I mean, this is what we're fighting. This is what Comicsgate is up against all the time. This is disingenuous. This person, I don't even think this person buys comics. And by the way, just to say something in a very sincere way, if you don't like J. Scott Campbell's stuff, you don't have to buy it. But you see, you're in the minority. You can't argue with popularity. I mean, you could argue with it like you're doing here, but you'd be wrong. You would be wrong. Yeah, the fact that I constantly have to see my favorite female character drawn in his sexist style in main books angers me. Tough luck. Okay, that's just the way it is. You don't have to buy it. I don't like his art style. One word, art style. Honestly, oddball guy. You can say that again. You could say that again. It's so bland. J. Scott Campbell's artwork, you can say a lot about it, but one thing that you can't say about his artwork is that it's bland. It's colorful, it's expressive, it's alive, it's animated, and it's sexy. So this is a lie. This is more gaslighting, meant to sort of break J. Scott down. J. Scott Campbell, you're not allowed to have an ego. This is one thing that these guys want to shame you about. They want to tell you that you are not allowed to take pride in what you do, who you are, your accomplishments. You're not allowed to believe, that you are an accomplished, super gifted, talented artist that can do things that these people could never dream of doing. You're not allowed to believe that stuff about yourself. They want to change that. J. Scott, your art is not bland. And I'm not particularly a fan, as I said, but I appreciate what you do. Have no problems with the man, etc., etc. Here, hold on, let me see if there's anything else that's interesting. Another artist came to his rescue. Hold on, where is it? Here's Oddball Guy again. Yeah, I mean, I guess I respect it. Like, it's art. You can draw however you want, but his art just doesn't sit well with me. All right, well, why don't you shove it up yourself then? Because it's none of your business. His art is miles and miles better than everything that's come out of the social justice warrior era at Marvel. You guys are driving the comic book industry into the ground. Here's J. Scott Campbell. He just says, that's your opinion. And this person says, that's hashtag many people's opinion. Yeah, wrong people's opinion. Good. There's some people pushing back. No one wants your opinion. Nobody wants your opinion. Let's see here. Yes, here comes Comicsgate to save him. Comicsgate to the rescue. Oh, well, anyway, Ron Lim, who was a kind of a classic artist. He used to draw Silver Surfer. he showed up and I can't find his tweet now, I wish I could, but he just showed up and basically said, again, it's very simple. Let people like things. People like J. Scott's artwork. People love my artwork. People love Cyberfrog. People like what J. Scott Campbell's doing. Why don't you leave them alone? But social justice warriors are programmed to not leave you alone. They are not normal people. They are going to try to harass you, try to drive you to despair, and try to get you to change the way that you're doing things so that you can join them in their misery. I say to you for 2020, Comicsgate, and even if you're not Comicsgate, even if you're J. Scott Campbell, who, whether he likes it or not, understands what we're doing, let's just tell these people no. If you want to moan, to quote the Dead Milkmen, if you want to moan, you can moan alone. One of the finest rhyming stanzas I've ever heard. If you want to moan, you can moan alone. The rest of us are going to have a good time. The rest of us are going to do the comics that we want to do. The rest of us are going to do the kind of comics that you want to read, that most people want to read. And the rest of us are going to rejoice when we get paid for our efforts. And damn it, I'm going to say hail J. Scott Campbell here. Good for you for standing up to these nitwits, and more people like you should do that. You should join the fight. Tell them to go to hell. If you love the comic book industry, these people are your enemies. They're your enemies, and they're the enemies of every pop culture industry that they infest and weaken. So anyway, thanks for watching this video. I'm going to go up there and have a steak. I appreciate you all. I'll see you again soon with another video. Bye-bye. Hey, you want to follow me on Twitter? Are you sure? Well, if so, I'm at Ethan Van Sciver. That's at Ethan Van Sciver. See you there. Hey, I got a P.O. box. Want to send me some mail? Send it to Ethan Van Sciver, P.O. Box 607, Marlton, New Jersey, 08053. And I'll probably open it up on a live stream. Thanks very much, everyone.